in lesson 95, what we're doing is adding and subtracting rational expressions again. Same thing that we did in lesson 90. Add and subtract rational expressions. In this one, though, we're going to have a lot fewer common denominators to work with. We're going to be finding more common denominators. So, lesson 95, we are adding and subtracting rational expressions. Same as lesson 90, but more problems that don't have like denominators. Matter of fact, all these you'll have to make the denominators match. That involves finding the least common multiple, which involves factoring the denominators to see which factors are missing. All right, so we just like some of the problems we just looked at in our homework. We're going to be doing this today. So let's just dive in and look at some examples. Now this one just says find the least common denominator for each expression, and that's all we're going to do. We're not going to finish this out. How would I be able to see the least common denominator? What would I do? I need to factor out the denominator on the right. What would the factorization of x squared minus 2x minus 15 be? X minus 5 times x plus 3. Okay? So what would I need to add on the left to? I need an x minus 5, right, to get an LCD. My least common denominator is going to be x minus 5 times x plus 3. So if I were to finish this, I would need to multiply this fraction on the left by x minus 5, top and bottom, to make my two denominators the same. Okay? So this is just a little bit different from what we did already related to adding, subtracting fractions. Okay, this one. Let's find out what our least common denominator would be for this fraction, or this expression, these two expressions, and I'm going to do that by factoring the denominators. Okay, factoring the one on the left is a little bit different, right, than some of the ones we've done so far. It's two terms. How do you factor two terms? GCF and then maybe a difference of squares, right? So 4x squared, if I first take out a GCF, I would have 4 times x squared minus 49. Is that right?
Thank you.
Which is a difference of squares, right? What's the factorization of x squared minus 49?
X plus 7.
X plus 7 times x minus 7 is correct. All right, now this denominator, just working with the denominators here because the directions again say just find the least common denominator. What is the factorization of x squared plus x minus 56? X plus 8, x minus 7. 7 and 6 multiplied to be 42, yeah. So 8 times 7 is 56, and 8 minus 7 is positive 1, so we'll go with 8 and negative 7. All right, so what would I have to do to make these denominators the same? What am I missing on the left? X plus 8. And what would I be missing on the right? A 4. And x plus 7. So this monstrosity here, 4, x plus 8, x minus 7, x plus 7, is our LCD. Now you're not going to work any in the homework, or not many that would have a denominator that's that complicated, but this is just practicing the skill of finding the least common denominator. Okay? Easy enough? Lee, you're coasting back there. You're not aggressively attacking the subject here. We call it, you got to be an aggressive learner. You can't be a passive learner. It's not going to, you're not going to be able to like lay your head down on your textbook and absorb the knowledge, you know.
I wish I could.
That'd be cool if you could, right? But you have to be an aggressive learner. You got to sit forward in your seat. Aggressive. Be an aggressive learner. Sit forward in your seats. Pay attention. Learn. Okay? All right. Next example, this actually says to add. So what we're going to do is find the least common denominator here. And I'm going to do that by seeing what the factors are. Have any of y'all jump-started factoring these denominators? What is the factorization of x squared minus 16? X plus 4, x minus 4 is correct. So it will be 6x squared over x plus 4, x minus 4. Plus, I'm going to leave myself a little room because there might be something that comes into play here. I need to add a little space there so I can multiply to get a common denominator. What's the factorization of 2x minus 8? I can take a 2 out, and that leaves me with x minus 4. Okay? So to make these denominators the same, what's missing where? I have to multiply the left side by 2. Okay, does everybody agree with that? Because I'm missing a 2. What's missing on the right? X plus 4 is missing over here, so I have to multiply top and bottom by x plus 4. Remembering that this fraction bar is a grouping symbol, so that whole thing is, that's one thing we're looking at there. All right? It's not too bad. Now that my denominators are the same, what can I do? I can combine the numerators, yes? So my denominator, once I get it factored, it's never going to, I'm not going to multiply it back together. Because at the end, I may factor the numerator and cancel something in the denominator, so we're just always going to leave the denominators unsimplified. All right, so that will give me 12x squared plus, what's x minus 1 times x plus 4? X squared plus 3x minus 4. Now, one thing left to do is combine those like terms in the numerator. That'll give me 13x squared plus 3x minus 4 over 2x plus 4, x minus 4. I'm not going to write any of this down. It's just absorbing. Passive learning.
All visual.
Just go ahead and close your eyes and just listen.
We never write
But I'm
anything
visual.
down.
Visual.
You're visual, all right.
Close your eyes.
He's visual, y'all. He's something to look
I'll
at.
close my eyes.
I understand visual learning.
I understand that. The more senses you involve in your learning experience, the better off you are. I know I said, if somebody's an auditory learner, does that mean you should close your eyes and you'll learn better if you do that? Or if somebody's like a sleep learner, maybe Lance, you just go to sleep while you're... He's visualizing. It's okay to be a visual learner. It's okay to be an auditory learner. Without exception, the more senses you involve, touch, taste, sound.
Taste?
Taste.
How do you taste math?
Simple, you lick the paper.
You just lick the board, right?
You taste the math, right?
How? What is
Taste and see that the math is good.
Maybe if you,
All right.
maybe if you lay your head up against the textbook, well, that's good.
Okay, this is going to be great for the YouTube channel.
What does math taste like?
Okay. All right. Next example, example 3. Yeah, my first period of recording I didn't really like, so I'm re-recording.
Oh, you're recording this.
Well, everybody.
Wait, you're recording right now?
Oh.
We are on YouTube.
Did you catch
Okay,
Lance?
are y'all ready?
Hey, Mom.
4x squared over 9x minus 27 minus 2x minus 5 over x squared minus 9. Now, the minus sign in the middle is a problem, guys. Or it's something that we at least need to pay attention to. Because the fraction bar is a grouping symbol, that negative sign is going to be distributed to that second term, the numerator of it. But first we need to find out what the common denominator is going to be. So we're going to do that by factoring the denominators. The denominator on the left will factor as, oopsie, sorry, got to go backwards. Man, what is going on? There we go. So the denominator on the left will factor as 9 times x minus 3. Minus. Give yourself a little space because you know there's a good possibility that something is going to be multiplied in there, so let's leave ourselves some room. What's the factorization of x squared minus 9? X plus 3, x minus 3, right? Now I have to make these two denominators the same by multiplying by 1, right? That's the only thing I'm allowed to do to things is multiplying by 1. So what do I have to multiply on the left to make the denominators the same? I'm missing a what? I'm missing an x plus 3, right? So I have to do x plus 3 over x plus 3 because x plus 3 over x plus 3 is 1. It's 1. Okay? What's missing on the right? 9. Okay? So I have to multiply that by 9. I'm going to go ahead and show the multiplication there because I got to remind myself that I'm distributing that 9. Actually, I'm distributing what kind of 9? Because that negative sign has to go somewhere. It's going with that term. So immediately behind the negative sign is that 9. So in the top, I'm going to be distributing negative 9. All right, so now my denominator is the same. My denominator is 9 times x minus 3, x plus 3. And that's going to give me 4x squared plus 12x. That's 4x cubed, right? Not squared. Plus 12x squared. Sorry. And then I'm distributing negative 9. Negative 9 here times 2x minus 5 is negative 18x plus 45. Am I finished? Not sure, right? Well, the top factor, it's 4 terms. So how would you factor 4 terms? By grouping.
Pardon the interruption, but tennis has been canceled for today. Tennis has been canceled, and students need to go to 7th period study hall.
It's right.
All right? Now, y'all listen. Listen. The board. There's 4 terms up there. How do you know it can't factor by grouping?
There's the numerator.
Because this one negative sign right here, this one negative sign would really kind of mess things up, right? Because it's going to make one of those terms have to be negative, so we're going to have 2 positives and 1 negative and a positive. We're not going to have a common binomial factor that would pull out of that. Because we know it can't factor into something that's useful for us to cancel, we're not going to factor it. And this is how we're going to leave our final answer. Okay? All right. Now, that problem is messed up. It's missing a sign there. Let's do the second one there. Letter B only. Subtraction here again. So we're going to subtraction thing coming in. Y'all try to work ahead and get ahead of the game on this one. This one's a little easier than the last ones have been actually. Except for the minus sign again. We've got to distribute that negative, so be mindful of that. The left term will factor, the denominator will factor as 2 times x minus 3 minus x minus 7 over 4 times x minus 3. Yeah, these two denominators are a little easier to make alike, aren't they? What do we need to do on the left to make these denominators the same? Multiply by 2, top and bottom. And that will give me a common denominator of 4 times x minus 3. On the left, when you distribute the 2, you get 2x minus 10 And when you distribute this negative to these terms, you get minus x plus 7. And what does that give us? X minus 3 over 4 x minus 3. 4 times x minus 3. And can that be simplified? Because the x minus 3's can cancel, can't they? And we're left with 1 over 4. Okay? Your homework is page, this is lesson 95, so it's going to be page, let me get there. Page 634. Page 634. Let's do a short homework assignment. Let's do A through F and 1 through 11.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Is this for accuracy?